Welcome to the Colors Delight for Life. It's about life, where we share our experience, strength, and hope to help others so they have a better understanding. Thank you. Cheryl?
Hi.
Hi. It'd be lovely to see your lovely face.
Yeah, let me figure this out.
There you go. I can see. How are you? Well, you got a wonderful smile. I'd love to see.
Thank you.
I like to see people smile. It makes for a much nicer thing. So
yeah, your picture's itty bitty thing up there. I can barely see you.
Oh, well, I can see you just fine. Yeah, I know. I probably look like an ant to you.
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Oh, that's okay. It still works. I work on my phone all the time too. I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the audience, maybe for a 1 minute thing to let them know about who you are and, where you came from. And then we'll go into the interview. And okay, I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Okay. Hello, I'm Cheryl Grainger. Been through a lot in life.
I'll say what you do and how you help people and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm working as a CNA and I have a client I take care of and take care of my husband at home too.
Okay, great. I have people from all walks of life on here, so everybody's the same as far as I'm concerned. Okay, we're going to go back to your childhood if you can remember that far back. And
yeah.
When you were young, 0 to 10, if you could think about it, what were some of the obstacles and things you had to overcome as a youngster to, get through life and, your family or your friends or, anything significant? And I'm going to let you take it from there.
Okay, the first thing that comes to my mind is dyslexia.
Go ahead.
And well, my dad was a working alcoholic, so that was challenges there. He had whenever he'd get mad, he'd be mad for a week, and that wasn't fun. Being around a lot of negativity there. But outside of that, I had a fairly good childhood for the most part.
Did you have any family or friends that had challenges as a youngster that affected you at all?
Not that I can think of. I'm pretty much pulling a blank.
You're drawing a blank? Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to go from 10 years to when you're a teenager. Those are awkward years sometimes. So I'm going to let you take it from here and talk about that, and your feelings and, how that felt and, what you had to do and your challenges and things you overcome and things you worked through.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was late bloomer. So I was teased all the time by my peers. And I'm sorry, I'm just in a negative mood today.
That's okay. That sometimes with this help, sometimes I've actually gotten feedback from people and they've actually found this process that we go through actually very freeing for them to let go of those kind of things. Just to let you know, I deal with 6 different disabilities: depression, anxiety, PTSD, and I have my good days and I have my bad days. And and I can understand where you're coming from. And it's not always easy when you're in that kind of mood where you don't feel like doing anything. And it seems like everything's very hard to do. And did I explain that pretty good?
Yeah, I deal with depression, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and I call this company all the other stuff that goes along with it, neuropathy, thyroid cancer, um, cognitive impairment.
Mhm.
So it makes it hard to pull up information.
I very well understand. I deal with other issues too. So, life can be challenging, but it's whether or not we want to hit it head on or run from it or just look at
Yeah,
it as an obstacle.
yeah.
So go ahead and
Some
continue.
days are better than others.
Uh-huh.
I have my good days, and this is just an off day for me.
That's okay. Um, looking at your teenage years, what else did you deal with that you think you overcame?
Well, it was more in my 20s when I overcame it.
Okay.
I always felt like I was the ugly duckling, and um, never went on a date when I was in high school. Closest thing was a date was after high school. I had a male friend that wanted to go swimming at the pool or at the lake. And I don't remember that so much, but it may not materialize. But we talked about doing that. And
Um,
I was thinking, yeah, we did go. I just don't remember much about it.
um, can you remember anything about it if you'd like to share?
Of that particular date, no.
Uh-huh.
I have just a vague memory of it,
Very vague.
very
Um,
vague.
you said you were a late bloomer. What do you mean by a late bloomer?
That people weren't, it was, when I gave my life over to the Lord, God let me know that I was just as good as the next person, just as smart as the next person. As I always felt like I was stupid and ugly growing up. And I didn't really have a role model to nurture me on in that um, department.
Just to let
So,
you know, I grew up in a foster home. I didn't date during high school at all. And you know who took me to my prom? My dad. So that was
I
it.
didn't have anybody take me to the prom. I never went to the prom.
Oh wow. I'm sorry to hear that. That's hard. But
Yeah.
and also to let you know, I used to be 494 pounds 16 years ago.
How
And
you
I
had the gastric bypass?
I lost 250 on my own, and my diabetes got so bad they had to do the gastric bypass to get rid of my diabetes. That's something more
Um,
I deal with.
yeah,
So
my first husband had diabetes, and my current husband has diabetes.
yeah, it's hard, but I'm very grateful for that. And I've been where I'm at for 9 years. So I,
Yeah.
I'm 56, just to let you know. I've been on this planet for a little bit of time. So, and I've had do you want to know about a challenging year? Try 4 car accidents, COVID, back surgery, and then what was the other one? Neck, back, lung, and heart infections I just got rid of all in
Uh,
1 year. Believe me, that's a challenge. And then
yeah.
to keep things rolling. So, but
Yeah.
um, I just wanted to let you know that I can identify with you. And that's why
Yeah.
this podcast was put together so that folks could understand other people.
Yeah.
And I also found that everything is a give and take relationship. Nobody is no different than anybody else. And I believe that we need to treat each other with respect and dignity and kindness and compassion.
Mm-hmm. I feel
That's
the same way.
yes, exactly. Kind of moving on a little bit. How, going from your 20s into your 30s, what was that like?
Well, in my 20s was God called me into the ministry, and that's when I met my first husband. And I was praying, God, is this the guy that you are calling us into the ministry together on this? And I didn't share with him what God put on my heart until he first was feeling like he wanted to be a Christian writer. And later on, he felt a call into the ministry. So we went, when after we got married, we went to Central Bible College in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay.
And that's my son getting home now. Hello. But we went into the ministry, went to Central Bible College, and after that, we went to Holcomb, Missouri, and we pastored a church down there for a couple of years. And then we went out to Wyoming. Had my daughter when we were in Holcomb, Missouri.
How did you feel about all this stuff that was going on with moving from church to church and being a minister to folks?
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Did it make you feel good?
Yes.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a purpose in life.
So that purpose, knowing your why in life is really important. I think that's a really important thing to know. And also knowing who you are and knowing who you are with God. And I like God is good orderly direction, and ego is easing God out, as far as I'm concerned. And
What?
Ego is easing God out. If you got a big ego.
Okay.
I jokingly have a saying, please check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of folks out there with big egos, and I think God sometimes needs to do a pig, kind of prick him with a pin and deflate the ego. So,
yeah.
So, moving into your 40s, how old are you? So I know where we can end this on.
60.
Oh, well, you're only 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
So we're in the same age bracket as far as that's concerned. So
yeah.
I hope that makes you feel more comfortable.
No, when you said you were 56, it's like, I'm not that much older than you.
Nope. God gave me back 50 years, so I try to take care of what he gave me. So
yeah,
as far as that's concerned. So
no, when I was in my 30s, that's when my health problems hit.
Do you want to talk about that? You want to talk about that?
That was fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and I had a lot of stomach problems, and I had diagnosis of GERD, Barrett's esophagus. That came later on in life, though. But gastroparesis. They said I had that.
I deal with gastric paresis myself. It's a big issue with me, and how I can't eat fresh fruits and vegetables. So I don't know if you have the same problem, but I don't run into too many people who have gastric paresis and stuff, because I tried to figure out what it was for 6 years, and I finally had somebody figure it out. And I'm on a special. You're probably on a special diet to help with that.
Actually, no. When they did the test, they would X-ray every 15 minutes, and after 2 hours, the tech called the doctor and asked the doctor and said, "The eggs are still in there. What do you want me to do?" And he said, "Just let her go and tell her she's got gastroparesis." And that was it.
Oh, okay.
And moving back to South Carolina years later, they did with just orange juice, and they said I don't have gastroparesis.
Huh.
So I was on medication. I don't remember the name of it, but it was, they withdrew it from.
Did it help the medication?
Yeah, it helped some. I
Yeah.
had like nausea and burning and in the pit of my stomach, and that was the main thing. And I'd have vomiting too when it got
Mhm.
really bad.
Yeah. I understand that.
And
You go
I
ahead.
have a twin sister, and I got her involved in this twin study out in Seattle, Washington on fibromyalgia chronic fatigue.
Uh-huh.
It was a blind study where they didn't know who had the which one was sick and which one was healthy. They had to have confirmation that we were identical twins. They ran blood test on that, and it came back that we're identical twins. And they had went for all sorts of testing, sleep studies, psychological memory test, social history, physical exercise exertion studies, and lots of blood work. 16 tubes at one time.
You probably felt like they were being a vampire.
Yeah, it's like this is the most amount of blood drawn at one time.
So
But
what were the results of that, or did you find out?
my sister tested positive on the tilt table test, and they said that they gave a printout at the end of the year of how many twins tested positive for this or that. And that's the only thing I remember stands up in my mind.
You know, interesting. I'm up in the Seattle area. That's kind of an interesting
Oh,
thing.
are you?
I'm about 40 miles from Seattle, is what I am.
Oh, okay.
I don't reveal
Yeah.
the city I'm in because I've had too many strange folks show up at my door.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah. We've taken them in out in Wyoming, especially. Well, we did in Missouri too. Took some strays in. We take in
Well,
stray dogs, stray cats,
no,
stray
no,
people.
strange people.
Yeah, we took strange people in.
Well, some of the strange people that show up at my door, you don't want in your home,
Oh,
if you know what I mean. Um, they kind of get a fixation. So
oh,
if you know what I
okay.
mean. Is there anything else you can remember about your 30s that you overcame and got through and experienced that can help
Yeah,
out?
the big thing was the getting over feeling like I was ugly and that I was, and so that I wasn't as good as other people, and that I was just as smart and just as pretty as the next person.
It sounds like
But
you
my confidence got where I felt onto a normal level, what normal person feels
good.
with confidence.
It sounds like you got some self-esteem going there.
Not anymore.
Oh, self-esteem. You got some
Yeah,
self-esteem going during that time.
yeah, I did at that time.
Moving into your 40s, can you
Big
just
divorce.
divorce? I
That wrecked everything. I
I've
was in the
been through
psych
that a
hospital
couple.
for 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
I heard from my doctor that my ex was wanted to divorce me.
Uh-huh.
He didn't have the guts himself to tell me that. And while I was in there, he moved out with my kids. And it just wasn't a good time. When I turned 40, that was my worst birthday.
I I know about bad birthdays, believe me. Not so good birthdays. Yeah. Sometimes I've dreaded having birthdays because something always seems to come up, but I've come to realize that with God in my life, that it makes a huge difference on whether or not I get through things. And
Yeah.
as far as that's, you're probably understanding what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like when you were 40 and had that happen, you kind of feel like you're in darkness and you're looking for the light.
Yeah. I wasn't seeing the light at the end of the tunnel at all.
So
It's when
sounds
I end up moving back here because
uh-huh.
my ex had me arrested for coming to see my kids
How come?
out in South Dakota. They could take a restraining order out on you for any little thing. They didn't have to have a reason.
Hmm. Where I live, you have to have a definite reason for it.
Yeah, most places you do, but out there they didn't.
That's too bad.
And that
Sorry.
cop that arrested me was not a friendly cop at all.
Oh, that
He
was,
was at a power trip.
I ran, I worked in corrections for 29 years. I was a corrections
Oh,
officer and I worked in law enforcement officer. And that's why I always said, you don't want to have an ego at all because you've got to treat people, whether you're arresting them or not. I find at least you've got to communicate with them and
mm-hmm.
realize you're not there to judge them. You're there just to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
They're going to get judged by the court or their peers or whatever. And that's how I felt when I worked in the prison too, is they had already been
Mm-hmm.
judged and everything else. My job wasn't to make things harder or anything else. Their punishment was already happening. And I didn't
Yeah.
need to make life hard for me or hard for them. Moving on from your 40s into your 50s, can you remember anything else that you overcame?
Well, in my 40s, I remarried to my husband I have now, and we're going on 18 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My he has a daughter, and I've got a son and a daughter from our previous marriage. We never had kids between us because I went through menopause early in life.
Mm-hmm.
It just stress does that to you and makes it comes early.
Uh-huh.
So we never were able to have kids. Oh, I forgot to mention in my 20s, I was also an RN
Oh, you're
and a
seeing,
minister.
are
Yeah,
you still an RN?
no,
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I had a diagnosis of uh, um, dementia
I see.
along with it. And when in 2010, that was in the 90s, I was diagnosed with that. And in 2010, a different neurologist in South Carolina said, "You're too young to be carrying that diagnosis." And he sent me for a memory testing, and they said it was just a normal fibro fog that is normal with people with a fibromyalgia.
Um,
And
Go ahead.
then later they said it was my cognitive impairment, which is a step higher than the fibro fog.
Well,
Because you
yeah,
fiber fog, you get days that you're able to function and speak normally, and synapses work up there. And with this, it's not working too well.
think,
My mom had Alzheimer's, and both
uh-huh,
my grandparents, both my grandmas had dementia.
uh-huh.
So it's a high risk in my family.
Do you challenge yourself to read and, learn new things?
I tried to read. My eyes were crossed, and have a hard time comprehending things.
Uh-huh. When I was young, my eyes were crossed too, and they had to do surgery on my eyes.
They had to do that with my sister. My
And
eyes didn't start doing that until later on in life.
they can still correct it later in life.
It's just when I'm reading, they'll cross. And other times when I'm looking at somebody, they're not crossed.
I see. It
When
has
I'm
to,
washing my face in the morning,
uh-huh.
my eyes are crossed. My left eye would just kind of drift off and do its own thing.
Yeah. When they did mine, they said it was muscles. They had to tighten the muscles in my eyes. And when that was
Yeah.
done, it actually quit doing that and I was able to focus. And up until that time when I was young, when I had that done, I had a hard time reading, but after that, I took off like a rocket. I love to read.
Oh,
So I've dealt with the cross eyes. When I looked up, I looked down. When I looked sideways, I looked the other direction. It was really frustrating as a young
yeah. I
child.
kind of tilt my head one way and tilt the other way, trying to get them to focus.
Uh-huh. Yes, definitely.
I can read, a paragraph, but
Uh-huh.
it's a long article. It's like, or a long post. It's like, I just skip over it because it's like, it's not going to comprehend.
Right.
It's
Well,
frustrating.
going into your 50s and stuff like that, what can you tell me about that as far as it being an overcomer and getting through to this point of being 60?
Well, when I turned 60, it was my best birthday. So I was thinking I was going to be 60 I was getting be my, a lot of people happen turning when they're 40, that's they're getting old. And I was thinking 60 is going to be that for me. I got to take a drink of water here.
That's okay. I drink all the time. That's fine. Oh, I love your dream catcher in the background. That's really pretty. That's a beautiful
That's
dream.
my Wyoming wall.
That's your Wyoming wall. I see.
Yeah,
I see.
all
I see
that's from,
skin. I see skins. I see little plaques. I see all sorts of little things. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
all that.
I like to observe these things. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
that's not from Wyoming. That was somewhere else, but everything else is from Wyoming back there.
You've got a critter up there, huh?
Yeah, skunk and rabbit skin over there on that side.
I hope you didn't. You weren't there when the skunk was there.
No, it's just they had they called it rendezvous out there in Wyoming. They have it every September weekend. I forget when in September it was, but it was in September.
Uh-huh.
They'd have the mountain men dressed up and they'd have trades. The Indians would do the Indian dances and stuff, and they'd sell arts and crafts and skins, and that's where I got the dream catcher from, and the two tails back there, and the skins came from.
Cool. What made your 60th birthday the best birthday you thought that ever was?
I was having a lot of people wish me happy birthday. My kids called me, and I just remember there was just a good day. It's not staying out in my mind now what specifically happened that day, but it just was. It's not turning 60 isn't bad at all.
You're still young. If you think
Yeah,
about it, in today's
yeah,
day and age, turning 40s is like being in your 20s. You're still
yeah. That's
learning.
what they say.
It's not till
I'm
you
good
turn,
for at least. I'm good for at least another 20 years.
oh, come on, you're good for another 40.
Well, my family, I do on ancestry.com,
Uh-huh.
and I've done some research in the past on family tree,
Uh-huh.
but I get emails from ancestry.com links, and I had some my great grandpa lived to like 75.
Uh-huh.
And back then,
That was
what I'd
old.
hear before, yeah, they die off with diseases and stuff by 30s and 40s.
So it sounds like you can have a lot longer life than 20 years. Come on.
Yeah. Well, my mom was 83 and my dad was 80 when he passed.
So, well, I figured, you know what? I got another 40 years on this planet. God gave me all this time back. So, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of it. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so um, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience that you think would be a help?
Just keeping faith in God and knowing that He's going to get you through it. Trusting in God, trusting in God, and trusting in God.
Thank you for coming to Claire's Delight for Life. It's about life. I hope you enjoyed our podcast as much as I did, and I hope you have a great day. I'd love to let you know about a new book coming out, and it's a great help for those who, and including you, to deal with life. It's called Overcoming Depression, Anxiety, PTSD, and Stress. Who couldn't use a book like this? And it's a great program. And the book and audio are going to be made available on Audible and Amazon. We also have we are on all the social platforms, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest, and TikTok, and just about anything else you can think of. With all that being said, we also have some other wonderful books that you can get on Amazon and Audible and on our website too, which is declaresdelightforlife.com. Again, that's declaresdelightforlife.com. And those books are Clutter to Declutter. And another one is 28 Days to Declutter Your Mind. The other one is Secrets to Declutter Your Mind Now. These were written with lots of love and experience, these books, to really help you on your journey in life, because I know, having gone through so much in my life, these are written from the heart to see that you too can succeed despite your situations. And I just want you guys to know that we do have a 180-day guarantee that if any of these don't work for you, you can just email us or at support@declaresdelightforlife.com, and we will refund your money with no questions asked, because we believe that a no questions asked guarantee is the best way to have a great relationship with you. And with that said, you know what? I hope you enjoyed this episode of Declares Delight for Life. It's about life, sharing your experience, strength, and hope.